Welcome back from the break, Rams. Now, it's normally later in the April calendar, but Easter is this Sunday. And while we could talk about the Easter Bunny and Easter eggs, let's go deeper. Of course, the root of Easter lies in Christian tradition, where believers all around the world celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Okay, bringing us back from 2,000 years ago. Earlier in the show, we talked about David Roddy in his interview with Portia. Roddy is a former CSU's athlete whose career in the green and gold, you might say, is dead. Do you see where I'm going with this? So, with that and the theology in mind, our out-of-pocket question with Easter approaching is the following. Which CSU athlete would you resurrect from the dead? Dylan, we'll start with you.
So I think there's a lot of athletes here to choose from, but I believe you touched on one of the best athletes in the show, and that's Becky Hammon, obviously. She's going into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Her numbers in Moby, she is just a truly phenomenal athlete. And could you imagine her on this next year's CSU squad? I mean, her and Hofschild as a backcourt would be truly insane.
Yeah, that would be.
I think Becky Hammon, again, like we were talking about her today, she's in the Hall of Fame. Absolute player. I think if Hofschild and her, oh my gosh, that would be insanity.
Probably one of the best backcourt duos of all time.
Talk about the basketball IQ of that duo, too. Just those two would each dish out, 10, 12 assists a game?
At least. I mean, McKenna had basically her numbers this year, too, so that would be crazy.
Would be nuts.
Mike, who would you bring back?
I'm going with Greg Myers. I mean, a lot of people are probably not going to know him. He played from 1992 to 1995, but he would have won the biggest award before Becky Hammon went to the Hall of Fame. So he won the Jim Thorpe Award, which is the award for best defensive back in the nation. Arguably the biggest award that CSU has ever gotten besides, of course, like I just said, Becky Hammon. But he was a two-time All-American and first-team All-Conference all 4 years he played. Came in as a freshman at free safety and really just dominated from the start. I know we do have a good secondary this year. I would say it's one of our better position groups, but I think just having one of the legends of all time on this team would just make the team even better.
I mean, you add a Jim Thorpe winner to any secondary, it's going to be better. I mean, he played as part of the backbone, really, of those Sonny Lubbock's best years, and so when you add him to a team like Norvell that's really defense-centered, and you talked about it earlier in the show, that's their identity.
Yeah.
You add another legendary secondary piece, it might be over for the Mountain
It's
West.
already good, but you add even that, it would be insane.
I think that would be very beneficial for this year.
What would you say, though?
So mine is even actually farther back, but I chose Bill Green, who played for CSU basketball from 1960 to 1963, and he is literally a legend. He was a forward. He had 22 points per game, over 1,600 points, and led to the conference championship 1961. But his best year was in 63. His last year went to the NCAA tournament. He scored a record-breaking 48 points in one game. He had the NYE Award in 1963, even drafted by the Celtics in 1963. But the most interesting thing about him I found, he never had an NBA career because of his fear of flying. He literally never had a career that took off. He ended up becoming a teacher in New York instead, but CSU retired his number. You'll see it up there in Moby. And he was also, I think, the first All-American at CSU. So
crazy.
That's a valid reason, though, to not go to the NBA.
Yeah.
They do a lot of flying.
Yeah.
And especially in the 60s, planes have evolved since then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my guy, and I think we should have him now.
I think all three of these are good options. I think they would all impact these teams generationally.
Yeah, so that would be the peak of CSU if we could bring back three legends overall.
From all different decades.
Yeah.
And with that, Rams, that is all the sports action we have for you tonight. Be sure to tune in to Local Beats tomorrow for the best of FOCO music. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night, and we'll see you then.